for sure.
You don't want to get married, do you?
Not really.
I heard you say that on another show that you don't want to get married.
Listen, could I meet the right girl who could convince me she's just amazing? No. It's possible.
It's not possible.
It's possible.
You have to convince a man? No.
It's possible. Now, I could have a monogamous, lifelong partner, but I think, and I don't want to get in, just because we don't have a bunch of time, and I want to get through a bunch of notes, but I do think there are some valid reasons why marriage is not a great move. From a religious perspective, fantastic. But the issue is, when it comes to marriage, the state oversees your marriage, not your religion, really. And also, when your wife, if she so chooses to divorce you, she's not going to go to the church. She's going to go to the state to get alimony, to get XYZ, to get community property, to get half the house, to get half the assets. She'll go to the state, not the church. So for that reason, if the state was not so heavily involved in the affairs of romance and love and marriage, I might be more inclined to do it. Prenups frequently get challenged and thrown out, and sometimes deemed unenforceable for a variety of reasons. Prenups are only if a woman is motivated enough, she can try to get out of a prenup.
You had some evil women, have you?
It's not. I'm just a practical person who sees the reality of the family court system, the bias against men in the family court system, divorce laws, etc.
So I have a question. If you did have a lifelong monogamous partner and she stayed at home for you, and would you set something up for her in case you guys separated, and she would have like money after that, like a monthly check? Because like if you're not marrying her, but she's expected to sacrifice years of her career to be at home with you,
sure.
What is she, if she's not getting marriage in return, how is she going to be protected financially?
So within the traditional paradigm of that, there certainly is a case to be made for alimony being justified. If she has genuinely sacrificed her career to be a stay-at-home mother, she has made sacrifices in the pursuit of a career and having children, and if I were to leave her, then that would present to her some substantial financial burden. There are some very legitimate, rational reasons for alimony being justified. What I don't like, however, is the state coming in and saying, well, okay, you're a really high-earning man, therefore you need to be paying your wife 6 figures a month because you earn this much. I don't think a woman is entitled to continuity into lifestyle at the breakdown of the relationship. I think there ought to be some degree of limit on like these fucking celebrities that get divorced. You know how you get continuity in your lifestyle? By staying with that person. Now, granted, husbands, I suppose, could be the initiators of divorce or be abusive where it's just so warranted that the woman initiates the divorce. However, I don't think that's really frequently the case. And the fact of the matter is, women overwhelmingly are the ones who are initiating divorces. 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So there's going to have to be some sort of rewriting of these alimony laws to make it a bit more equitable, let's say.
So you would rewrite the alimony law? Like what? You didn't really
I don't
answer the
know
question.
specifically how I would
do you want, like outside of marriage, do you want a lifetime partner like that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like to have kids with and stuff?
Yeah, have kids.
What
kids. We could do kids.
She does raise an interesting point, because I mean, you know, if a woman is your stay-at-home wife and all that kind of stuff, a stay-at-home mom, she would be totally dependent on you. And out of curiosity,
sure.
like how would you give her security in that kind of situation without a ring?
How would I give her security in that situation?
Like how could you guarantee her security? Because she's raising the excellent point. Like if at some point in time you hypothetically were like, you know what, I'm over it, I want to go be with some other chick, like she'd be screwed. You know,
that's a fair point.
So like
that's a fair point. Well, I mean, I would argue that, you know, child support could potentially come in, and child support, even if you're not married, they can claw quite a bit of, you know, in that case. Look, I think there ought to be a healthy balance, and when it comes to these sorts of laws, when it comes to alimony, and I don't see it with the current marriage laws that there are.
I'm not trying to convince you to get married. I'm just, I think it's a great question that you brought up, because, you know, Like you've said many times, you're a businessman.
I'm a businessman.
You're a businessman.
I don't sign contracts that don't benefit me.
Yeah, you want a good deal, but I'm trying to look at it like, okay, what if I was a woman and I wanted to be with Brian? It'd be a freaking bad deal to like
That's a great deal.
to invest my life with no security guaranteed from you. That's a pretty bad deal for a woman.
It's a great deal. Fantastic deal. Let me tell you why it's a great deal here. Here's a
She
great
got them
deal.
shares, maybe.
Literally the same.
No, but
besides
why?
getting to be
Some-
with you,
some
like
foot in your company,
it's
maybe.
very, very risky for her.
Not that risky. Very risky.
It's like you're spinning
girl-
on your hand and
no,
you're
no, no.
shaking hers, and you're like, "I'll never leave you.
The
Don't
girl,
worry." Believe me.
but that's the same thing with marriage, though.
No.
Yes.
No.
No, that's the exact same thing with marriage.
Do you know how much a divorce costs, though?
What?
You're not just saying,
It's
fuck
not.
this,
It's
I'm
not.
leaving.
Look, I
It
see what you're
costs-
saying. I see what you're saying. It's not the exact same thing with marriage because, like, there is, like, it's. You go through a whole process. There's a ceremony. Like, there's a societal expectation.
Yeah.
Like, part of why it's shameful to divorce is because you're making these vows in front of everybody
Right.
that you know, hey, I'm going to be faithful to you, you're going to be faithful to me, and then there's social shame associated with breaking that. So it's not exactly the same as like getting married. I mean, I'm describing basically just a verbal agreement and a handshake. Hey, yeah, we'll be together for life. And then the woman's like, okay, I hope he means it, you know?
Yeah.
That's freaking risky, bro.
Sure, and I would argue that in the past, this wasn't so much a concern
Right.
because we had a better social fabric. People there was far less divorce historically.
Yeah.
Now we see the divorce rate is crazy. Women overwhelmingly are the ones to initiate divorce. That's why, from a male perspective, I have far greater concerns and worries when it comes to potential divorce than perhaps I could have expected 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 plus years ago. Also, I would say that the family court system is very gynocentric. There's bias against men in
That's
the
true.
court system.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just, look,
You know what I think you should do?
just
I think
become
you should, I
a
think
monk.
You should, I think no. I think you should be the man of God that you say you are.
Okay.
Go find a good woman and be the social fabric that you want to see in the world, Brian.
No, look, the nuclear family, great. Kids, marriage, religious marriage, great. But again, we have the state, we have this court system.
Yeah, no, I see your point.
And look,
It's dangerous,
and here's the thing,
especially
right?
in California.
Especially in California. What are the vows that they say? Till death do us part. That has to mean something. Till death do us part. If I were to get married to a girl, that shit's for life. There is no divorce, but there is. But there's not, but there is. I wouldn't get divorced.
You remember when we had this conversation with Deborah and Sam and Gorlock?
Yeah.
I looked at and we were talking about like you made the claim that Christian marriages like still had super high failure rates.
Yeah.
Dude, I looked this up. I started
It's
digging
less,
into
I
the
think.
data. Families that regularly go to church together and read the Bible
Mm.
together and pray together, the divorce rate is less than 1%.
Yeah.
Chase, can I ask you a question?
What's up?
So, like I said, I watched the show and I watched it.
Dakota Kratzer donated $99. Hello, Jacqueline.
Bro, you fucking
I'm a 27-year-old Christian, and my life
three
is on track.
chats are coming in
I
right
find
now,
you
by the way.
beautiful and interesting, and I'd like to get to know you sometime. I'm not much of a social media person, so feel free to text me at...
That's the number.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yo,
go,
you should-
go watch
you
it
should
later.
hit
a
him
lot
up.
of compliments. Thank you very
You
much.
should hit him
that
up.
was nice of you.
See if he's legit. That might be your man right there.
That's my husband.
Raven DT donated $100. In Judaism, there's a marriage contract called a ketubah. It requires a groom to provide for his bride on their wedding day, intended to protect the woman, primarily by establishing the man's financial obligations to her in case of divorce or his death.
All right,
love
Raven
that.
DT, thank
That's
you.
cool. Interesting.
Eliminate no fault divorce. Oh, this one's coming. We got one coming in from Nasha Nabu. That's coming in here.
Nashu Nabu donated
Thank you, man.
$99.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Eliminate no-fault divorce. If the man cheats, she can divorce and get alimony. If she cheats and he's the breadwinner, he can divorce her and she loses any chance of alimony. If he beats her, she can divorce and get alimony.
I agree with
etc.
that.
Look, I think from a guy's perspective, when it comes to marriage, and I don't want to linger on it too long because I do have a lot of notes I got to get through. women overwhelmingly initiate breakups, initiate divorce. So my view is you never sign a contract with someone who is rewarded for breaking it. I think no sane, informed man ought to sign that contract. The problem with sort of these like views on marriage is they feel to the state, and I think I already said this, the state presides over the marriage, not the biblical values or your religion. So when the woman is unhappy, she's going to go to the state, not God. And I think that's primarily where I have an issue.
I want to add something
Really quick, just because I really got it.
It'll be super quick. Before no fault divorce, if you wanted to get a divorce in the United States, this was like early 1900s. If a woman or a man wanted to divorce their spouse, they had to build a case for why it was justifiable and then provide evidence for that in court. That you couldn't just divorce somebody like that. Like, I wish we still had that kind of society.
Okay.
You
All
know?
right. Let's see. While we